Beanie, and what you're watching is the next stage of this Indominus Rex drawing. I did do a tutorial on how to do just the line work, which is still taking its time in uploading, so I figured I would do this video of the next stage, doing all the detail in the skin. So before I can do the detail in the skin, I thought that we need to have the Indominus Rex drawn. So here is that video, time-lapsed, of me drawing the Indominus Rex. The rest of this video is going to have a combination of tips in my normal drawing and talking stage, but also time-lapsed to try and keep this video as short as possible. So next, for the next bit of information. Alright, g'day folks. I am going to do a rendering with not felt tip pen, with ballpoint pen, this Indominus Rex. Thanks Beanie for that introduction. What I'm doing here is I'm putting lines over the top of the previously drawn lines, and I'll be doing that throughout the whole image with ink. Now the reason why I'm going over all my lines with the ballpoint pen is because, as you can see around there maybe, that I tried to erase lightly my pencils, but it ended up just smudging the lead everywhere. And I want to have something to work from when I'm putting my ballpoint pen over all of the work. So, because I wasn't the biggest, well, it wasn't that I wasn't the biggest fan of the rendering of this, it's just it was very rough and very loose. And I wanted to get a more refined rendering and toning in this image. I've got another drawing that I've just finished that's going to look amazing when rendered, I reckon, but I'm going to do that one felt tip pen. This one I did it very loose, because that one I'm going to do in felt tip pen, so that's going to be a different video. But this one, I'm trying to go over as many of my original lines as I can, because last time I erased all the lead from my drawing. But when I was putting the ballpoint pen over the top of it all, it lost a bit of that tonality that I liked. Like you can see around, like when you erase some of the lead from under the ink, it makes your ink a little bit lighter. I'll demonstrate in one, like I'll demonstrate probably in the hands and around this leg later on when the ink is totally dry. But you'll get an idea of what I mean by losing some of the detail in the pencils. But basically, once I've erased the pencil lead section, then I'm just going to go to town in rendering properly with the pencil, and then I'll know where the rendering needs to be. But I'll try and lighten the lead around then. Just for one little bit of quick annotation, just randomly, is that when I drew this yesterday, and I was planning on having it uploaded yesterday as well. I started uploading at about, probably about 3 PM. It finished uploading at about 8 or 9 PM. And then after it finished uploading, it had to do its processing thing. So I was sitting there waiting for it to do its processing thing. I decided to have a nap and sleep through it, and then about 5 hours later it was still processing, and it looks like it paused, or there was some sort of error in the processing, because it is now nearly 10 AM the next day and it's still processing apparently. So I don't know if it actually is processing or if it is just not working. So I've re-uploaded it. It's now re-uploading. It's up to about 20. Oh, it's now up to 33% uploaded. Really hope this video before this one actually uploads, because That's one of my. It was meant to be a Tutorial Tuesday thing, but it's now in Australia anyway. It's Wednesday, so thanks YouTube for not having the best of uploading that. And the actual video that I uploaded was 1.5 gigabytes, which is quite a big file. The video was about 40 minutes long. A 1080p video. I should probably just upload it half size and hope, and maybe that'll make it upload better. But I wanted to have as much detail as possible for you guys to watch. You know, if you want to watch on your TV or something, or if you want to watch full screen, you can watch it being drawn in as good a quality as possible. But yes, it's still uploading. So this video that I'm doing right now, I don't even know if I'm gonna keep it for the full length. I'm probably just gonna time lapse it all, and I'm gonna do what I did with another drawing that I did with time lapsing the first stage drawing, and then time lapsing this part as well, or having the whole thing time lapse, or letting this part be the full video and the time lapse of the beginning stage. Who knows what I'll actually end up doing. That's my alarm. Okay. So I'm trying to do my best to get a little bit of rendering in the, like around here, there's rendering that I did in pencil. I'm trying to do a little bit of, go over a little bit of that with my pen. So I kind of got an idea where the rendering is, but yeah. I think that area, well, the hands at least, I hope. Let's find out. It should be erased. It should be ready to be erased now. So I'll show you what I mean about erasing the pencil, and it gets rid of a bit of that definition. So as you can see, for the most part, the ink was dry. I mean, it's left a little bit of a residue, but as you can see, like around this area, compared to say up around there and around there, that has a little bit more definition because, you know, it's rendered with pencil. So it has a bit of that tone. In here, it's completely white and flat. But that's when I'm going to go in there and add in some proper rendering to make it look more toned. But this time with ink, because then it'll be more permanent. And the pen, especially around in like small strokes like this, you can have more detail as opposed to like in that tail section. What I'm doing here is I'm trying a new method of rendering. Well, not rendering, drawing scales. If I was to draw all the scales at the small scale that in proportion, it would probably take forever. So what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to do a little bit of a drawing, I guess you call it a very long slinky, if you know what a slinky is, or a very long spiral, elongated. That's if it's instead of drawing each individual circular scale, I'm drawing it very loose, but it seems to be making a nice little pattern, and that will give us the texture of the skin. Hopefully that this seems like it doesn't take too long to do it like this way, rather than drawing all the circles. And then I can put in some wrinkles and things like that over it, because the skin of this Indominus Rex, it seems to be quite a bit different to the T-Rex and the Velociraptor. It seems to have many little tiny scales, which is strange considering how big it is. Another bit of information you can probably see, but the pressure of my pen is incredibly light on the paper. Unlike around here, which is dark, this is light. So that is how you make light texture of scales. Don't press heavily on on your pen tip, do it incredibly lightly. Doing the detail in the Indominus Rex's hand and arms is very much like doing it like a raptor, because it does share raptor DNA. Just to give it more of an organic, reptilian scaled vibe. And here's even more scales and lines and such, so also with this part, it seems that it has bigger scales around here, just being silly there, tiny scales around here, and the scales are more or less pretty uniform right through the body, even down to there. Now, I know I said I wouldn't do each individual scale around here, but it seems that I'm a glutton for detail, so I am actually going through and kind of rendering as many of these scales as I can. And hopefully you can see that I'm doing the scales shapes to conform with the contour of the muscle of the leg. So it kind of goes to the contour to make it look more three-dimensional. I know some people have asked me how they can, if I got any tips on how to make things look more three-dimensional. That's the best kind of advice I can give to making your flat surfaces look more three-dimensional. It's all about basic shading. So we'll do a bit of shading here. Okay, just quickly try and draw some of the scales in. Right, so we've got those scales in, and then you just want to very loosely shade into the corners. But you also, each stroke that you make for your shading, you do it with the flow of the shape. So imagine this is a sort of it's not round, it's a kind of a, what is the best kind of thing? Think of it as a flat pillow shape. So it's wide, it's not flat, it's kind of curved. Think of it as a flat pillow, and then you kind of just try and draw your scales to conform with that shape. Okay, we'll quickly draw the shape of the thigh piece. Yum yum. Okay. Imagine, okay, that's your thigh piece. Now imagine it's a kind of a pillow. So what we're going to do is imagine it's a wireframe model. I'm sure you would have seen computerized wireframe models. See how the lines contour to the shape of the leg. So just imagine the shape of the leg, and you have your lines kind of contouring with that shape. So that would be your shape, and then you just kind of imagine you do your sorry about that. But basically you get the idea. You do that, and then you have you flow your lines and your scales along where those theoretical lines are. So you do like dot 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 dot. You follow those curved lines, and that is how you would make a sort of a flat object seem more three-dimensional in your rendering. So hopefully that gives you more of an idea on how to do it. Also, another bit of information just to share is that the image or the scene that I'm using for reference for this particular part is where the Indominus Rex is twisting and attacking the gyrosphere. I'm not drawing the gyrosphere in this actual image, but that particular scene, especially with the shots, the close-up nature of the full body, you get a really good look at a lot of the scales along the Indominus Rex's body. So I'm using those images as a reference of how to do my scales. I haven't got to it yet, but I would say that the worst part of drawing dinosaurs is the tails. I just find them incredibly boring and tedious to detail. But when I get to it, I'll just do a quick preview here, but it's so tedious and boring, I find, because you're doing that along the whole entire length, the exact same thing. At least legs and arms and that have a little bit more dynamic differences, different bits that make them interesting. Seems it's got big, chunky scales up on the top end that form into smaller, muscular bits at the bottom end. And as you can see, I'm drawing slight cylindrical curves to emphasize the point that the tail is a cylinder, and you try and put your scales around to that cylindrical form. So now around here I'm going back to that sort of spiraled faking of the scales that I did in the torso part. This is a long bit of time lapse, so thought I'd just fill in a bit of the audio while I'm doing the tip of the tail. As you can see at the very tip, I've made that darker, so it looks like it's curving in on itself. It's got very long, just finishing all those bits of detail. Top two scales, and around here they doesn't actually seem to have all that many scales like you would see on an ostrich or on the old dinosaurs of the old Jurassic Park movies. Again with those long top scales for the top of the toe. Seems like there's no chunky dermal plate bones things up on the top of the leg. It's just along her tail and her back. Okay, we've got ourselves another long bit of time lapse. What I'm doing here is I'm just basically putting in all those sharp pointy dermal bits and just refining the detail along the neck, in the head, the jaw, and such. I've got other tutorials on how I did those kind of areas before, but yeah, a little bit more information. I'm also going to erase this bit. So now I'm just going to go over it with a layer of rendering, and so that the blacks below it are fairly consistent and even throughout. Now just for a fine layer of lead to get a bit of the midtones. Okay, I think that pretty much covers it. Just gonna fix up around here. There we go. Put a little signature on it. But yeah, this video may take a while to upload, but I think I'll just, keep the details of this video in, because there's a lot of good information, I think. But yeah, if you like this video, hopefully you do, because I put a lot of effort into this one, give it a thumbs up, share it, let me know what you think of this one. I don't want to toot my own horn, but I'm actually quite proud of this one, to be honest. I wasn't expecting to put this amount of detail into this guy, but it actually looks really good in my opinion, so hopefully you guys like it too. I'm sure most of you will. So yeah, I will have other dinosaurs coming down the track. I'm reading your comments. I'm reading your requests. I will get to them down the track at some point. But yes, That, my friends, is how you draw Indominus Rex. All up, it took about I'd say about two and a bit hours. So yeah, thanks for watching, and hopefully this video has earned me a subscription from you guys. I'm sure a lot of you already have subscribed, so thank you. But yeah, that's it from me. I am now going to attempt to draw a Velociraptor or something like that. So yes, thanks for watching, and I'll see you all next time. Cheerio.